I guess before we talk about the NoFap movement, I should probably be honest about myself when it comes to fapping. I jerk off at least twice a day. Once in the morning, right after I work out, and then once right after lunch. I do it because I need to. Think about it, as a political YouTuber, you're dealing with drama all day long. Twitch debate bro streamers, MrBeast stands, Elon Musk simps. So I gotta feed the geese to keep the blood flowing. I pop off to the bathroom, work one out anytime I can, and I've gotten so good at it, I'm stroking it while I'm thinking about my sub growth right now. I think it was inevitable that I would eventually cover the NoFap movement. I probably should have covered it last month in, No Nut November. But basically, while covering the Sigma male stuff last month, I came across loads of connections with the NoFap movement. So today what I want to talk about generally is just like NoFap, where it comes from, and how it's morphed into this insane pseudoscience, and it moved away from its roots to essentially become part of this like Sigma male stuff and this like male astrology type thing, because the reasons people say you shouldn't fap have genuinely become utterly mind-boggling. Like, you're not going to believe the reasons that people list for not fapping. And also I realised there's a nice link to like right-wing politics and things like the Proud Boys, and I thought there's so much of that stuff involved in the NoFap movement generally, I'm actually going to save that for a completely separate video, because I feel like there is enough to talk about where I can focus on like the weird pseudoscience in this video specifically, and then more focus on the toxic masculinity and the political elements in another video. I think I'll probably do that next week or something. But anyway, before we get any further, I'm going to plug my social media and Patreon for about a minute. Timestamps down in the description, so skip this stuff if you're not interested. Before we get any further, a lot of my work on this channel is demonetized because when you're covering more serious, sometimes edgier topics, YouTube doesn't like this. So if you've ever enjoyed my work, please consider becoming a patron. And you don't have to pledge a crazy amount. I want to build up my Patreon based on as many people as possible pledging little amounts, like $1 or $2. So if you feel like I have ever brought anything that's worthwhile into your life and my content, please really consider becoming a patron to help me continue to do this regardless of if YouTube monetize or not most of my videos in a given month. Also, if you want to join our communities, come check out our Discord and my subreddit. Those links in the description. And if you want to follow me personally, please check out the Kavernacle at Twitter, at Instagram, and also my personal Reddit, where you can keep up to date with all my content and what I'm doing. But every 5k we get a new chocolate orange. Please help me get 55k before the end of 2021. That'd be such a nice way to leave this great year I've had on YouTube, and then we can get one more chocolate orange. I don't really know how I'm going to organise the pyramid. Let me know in the comments how I would organise it with another one. Also, I live stream on a Tuesday and a Thursday, and I'm going to start archiving the stuff again, but I archive the streams on my second channel, the Kavernacle Extra, so go subscribe to that as well. I also just realised I've been wearing my AirPods the whole time. I'm just trying to like subtly flex on everyone. So I guess we should start the video talking about the origins of this stuff and what it specifically means. For me personally, my only exposure to this was like the memes about No Nut November, and I assume for many of you people that will be as much as you know. But literally type in NoFap into YouTube. It is crazy how many videos there are on this stuff which have millions and millions of views. It's far less obscure than the Sigma male stuff. And there are so many channels dedicated to this thing specifically. It's really bizarre how it's not more, I guess, like in the mainstream culture and more people know about it. So I'm going to read a quick article, talk about the origins, and then I'm going to play you a quick video. So Vice reporting, NoFap, No Nut November, and semen retention explained. There are many different iterations of masturbation and orgasm abstinence, including NoFap, semen retention, and No Nut November. The lines get a little blurry between each group, but aside from the basic rule of abstaining from orgasm, their tenets are distinctly different. NoFap is a movement that started in 2011 as a spin-off subreddit from the Reddit thread on Today I Learned about testosterone increases. during masturbation abstinence that made it onto the front page. It claims to be a sexual health platform according to its website, with the goal of helping people who want to quit fapping or avoid pornography for health reasons. We have always maintained that the best way to combat pornography's negative effects is through educational resources that will give individuals the information they need to make informed choices about their consumption of this material, a spokesperson for NoFap who I first contacted via Reddit told me. The semen retention community takes a similarly health-focused stance from abstaining from orgasming, but claims to be neither anti-sex nor anti-masturbation. It's part of Tantra and Taoist sexual practices to have sex without ejaculation, a mod for semen retention told me in a Reddit message. Unlike NoFap and semen retention, No Nut November focuses on the temporary challenge of not nutting instead of any purported health benefits, a play on No Shave November, which challenges participants to grow out facial hair during the month for charity. No Nut November is a group exercising in orgasm control. The rules on the subreddit say that men abstain from this until the clock strikes midnight on December 1st, and then a brief history of orgasm abstinence. Denying oneself orgasm in pursuit of some higher goal or ideals of sexual purity is not a new movement. Throughout the 1700s, philosophers, including Immanuel Kant, regarded fapping as an illness or symptom of one, and later John Harvey Kellogg and Reverend Sylvester Graham invented bland foods for a diet they thought would dissuade fapping. Cornflakes and graham crackers, I've heard Americans call it graham crackers I think, were meant to be so boring they killed boners. These beliefs are often connected to Christian groups or justified using a mix of scientific thinking and religion. I think the article did a good job of outlining how these things are different, but often how they are used colloquially. So NoFap specifically and the subreddit is focused on kicking addiction specifically, right? Although there is some like bro pseudoscience about the benefits of not doing this thing, it's mainly about addiction, which is something of course I can sympathize with. You can be addicted to so many different things, and if you're doing this to kick an addiction, then I do support people generally doing this. That is what you find most helpful, especially in regards to things like, I guess, like adult films, OnlyFans and stuff like that. If you need to go to this length to stop yourself from being an addict for those things, hopefully you may be getting mental health treatment as well, then I support people doing that. But like the article was outlining, NoFap has taken on a more life of its own where it's moved past the addiction stuff. And that's what I want to talk about today. It's this really bizarre pseudoscience, and it's mainly linked to the semen retention school of thought, if this is like some big philosophy thing. And this stuff is just so crazy. Like NoFap I can understand. This semen retention stuff is like all that pseudoscience you've seen with like Gwyneth Paltrow and the crystal stuff and the egg stuff. It's like that for men essentially. So I'm going to go back to a YouTuber who I talked about in my Sigma Male video because he like blends all this stuff together, Kaiju Kong, just for him to introduce us to what is semen retention.
Let's establish a consensus on the definition. Semen retention is the practice of not ejaculating, aka not ejecting semen from the body, whether by abstaining from sexual activity altogether or by learning how to reach orgasm without actually firing the gun. This practice has been around since the ancient times. Now, learning to achieve an orgasm without ejaculating is pretty advanced stuff, so for most of us, semen retention will mean not having sex and not masturbating. You gotta admit that orgasms feel good. So why would anyone in the right mind want to avoid them? The reasoning behind this is that the benefits from abstaining must be worth the sacrifice. I myself began this journey a couple years ago after seeing all the benefits that other men claimed to have experienced. Throughout my ups and downs, the longest time I was able to retain was 3 months, and I did notice a pattern of so-called superpowers emerge when I refrained from shooting my gun. Before I list down these benefits, I'll briefly go over what goes on behind the scenes that enables these superpowers. Semen is the basic ingredient to make a human baby. It is a vital component to create another individual life. Therefore, whenever you ejaculate, you are technically giving life away and sacrificing a bit of your own life force and vitality. This equation makes sense when semen is used with the purpose of having a child. But when semen gets thrown in the rubbish or gets flushed down the toilet, it's like you shooting a gun into the ground. What a waste of bullets.
So basically, the belief in this semen retention is derived from like basically lots of things to do with, I guess, religion, and it can be Eastern religion also some like weird Christian purity stuff mixed in there. And it's really like a melting pot of really, really bizarre beliefs. But these guys believe it's a path to becoming like a better man, having more desirable attributes, maybe even building muscle quicker, having better sleep, growing facial hair quicker. It's really bizarre. And we're going to get into the totally bizarre territory with this next clip I'm going to show you from another YouTuber called Stellar Thoughts. And when I was watching this, I couldn't stop cracking up because it seems to just get more and more crazy as time went on. And he says it's not really a video about this stuff, but basically your third eye is the gateway to the quantum. I can't even say it. Basically, your third eye is a gateway to the quantum realm, like your Ant-Man or some shit.
But the reason why most videos fall short is that they do not adequately explain how should you transmute your semen energy into other creative outlets. Because unless you transmute it, it will not give the benefits being promised. Because you can literally use this energy to create anything. This energy is literally the gateway to all progress. Spiritually and materialistically, and it is all mental. And since it is mental, the possibilities of what you can do with it are literally endless because your mind is limitless. And getting a great looking and functioning body is going to be just one of the very basic benefits that you will enjoy. The reason why so many guys have so many varying experiences with NoFap is simply because of their mental state. Those who are in a more positive state have greater benefits exhibited, even if they do not actively transmute it. The reason is, the transmutation process is mental. And if your mind is under duress, then you cannot expect it to perform an active transmutation on this energy. Most of it will be used to sustain control over your mind and to fight the negativity. Dr. Joe Dispenza explains in his book Becoming Supernatural how this energy literally can be used as an orgasm in the brain to induce mystical and euphoric experiences. Because it unlocks the creative part of the brain by providing sufficient energy to operate. It is the fuel that forces pineal gland to be activated, pineal gland to be activated, pineal gland to be activated, which is like an antenna that receives divine information and experiences from the unified field, or quantum realm, or infinite intelligence. Name it what you will, but it receives knowledge that is not of this world. Therefore, it is called the third eye, because it sees what you cannot see from your mortal eyes. And it is impossible to do without a positive mindset. He calls the process going into the unified field or quantum realm. And each and every possibility exists in quantum realm. Therefore, you can manifest any outcome you want from the quantum realm with this energy.
So I've just watched that again and it's just so crazy. So this like transmutation thing is like how you power up your body with like this more energy from not fapping. And your penis is the antenna. And it can, and it's like your third eye, and it can unlock the quantum realm, and it sees things you cannot see. Like, this stuff is so bizarre. Like, who invented these types of things? It's just like the craziest stuff I have ever heard in my life. It goes so beyond like the myth and that, you know, pro athletes often have of like, you don't want to have sex or you don't want to fap before you compete and stuff because it will lower your testosterone. It goes so beyond that, just like your antenna to the quantum realm. Like, this stuff is so crazy, but so many people are watching videos like this, and I think it shows like how social media is just rapidly melting people's minds. But these movements for all these bizarre trends, like these crazy fasts or like NoFap or loads of pseudoscience, it really just plays into a culture of massive misinformation. Like, how do you guys think these people feel about normal medical treatments? How do you think it factors into their way of thinking on established medical science? That's why this stuff is really annoying to me, that it's getting so popular, because it's taking people's lack of critical thinking skills, which so many people don't have because we're not taught it, and fills their mind with absolute mush. And there's also like the added element with the Sigma male stuff of this like toxic masculinity is like, how do I become a better man? I'm all out of ideas. I've tried everything like normal people are telling me. So I'm going to try this bizarre thing to enter the quantum realm. So instead of Ant-Man like using all this technology to enter like the quantum realm, he should just do NoFap. So Kaiju Kong has articulated how this stuff has given himself superpowers, so I want to listen to this quick.
When your sperm is not ejected and used outside the body, it will die, break down, and be reabsorbed to benefit the body internally. When you accumulate all the benefits of the vitamins and minerals within semen, you'll see why those who practice semen retention experience mental superpowers like increased confidence and discipline, an increased state of well-being, decreased depression, increased motivation, increased mental clarity, better memory and focus. Physical superpowers such as increased energy, less hours of sleep to feel well rested, increased stamina, increased muscle growth, thicker hair, a deeper voice, and faster healing and repair of muscle, wounds, and bone fractures. These I have all experienced on my own personal journey.
So Kaiju Kong is outlining there, whether he actually believes this or not, let's just say he does, that doing NoFap and semen retention has so many great benefits. It even lets you heal faster. It's essentially like giving you a superpower. And like he was saying, it's like better for like building muscle, beard growth, things that often men are very insecure about. And maybe, like I said before, you've tried everything and here is the solution to all your problems. Now I'm going to get into the comments of his videos in a little bit, but you guys might be wondering, what is like the bizarre like science behind this? Or like how do they rationalize NoFap with all these health benefits? So listen to Kaiju Kong articulate the health benefits of this from like, I guess, a scientific perspective.
To put it simply, our ultimate goal biologically as a human being is to live on. And we do that through hooking up with a female and making photocopies of ourselves. Whenever we ejaculate, our subconscious primal brain thinks we have accomplished this goal, regardless of where our sperm ended up. However, when we practice semen retention, the primal brain sees this as a sign that females do not find us attractive enough to reproduce with. As a result, it begins recycling the nutrients we consume and transforms us from the inside out in all aspects in an attempt to increase our attractiveness to the opposite sex. This is why physically our skin gets clearer, our muscles develop more easily, and our voice gets deeper, all in an attempt to appear more attractive to females and achieve the goal of procreation. You also become more energetic, more motivated, disciplined, and focused so that when put to good use, you can earn more money or attain a certain level of status. Again, all in an attempt to appear more attractive to females and achieve the goal of procreation.
And sperm itself is made up of a lot of vital minerals, a lot of vital vitamins. And these vitamins and minerals are there to provide the sperm with enough nutrition, so to speak, in order to reach the egg, to survive in order to reach the egg. And so every single time that you every single time that you ejaculate, you're basically giving off a lot of these vitamins and minerals. People have said you lose like 8 drops of blood or something for every drop of sperm. So that's the thing, guys. When you give you give yourself, it's like you give your sperm in order to create a baby. That baby is life. And if that drop can create a baby, that means that that drop of sperm is so powerful, guys. And if you expand just like a shotgun, just like a machine gun, the whole time, bullets cost, guys. That's why war is expensive. Of course, guns are more expensive and everything, but then bullets cost money as well. And sperm is a different type of bullet. Sperm is like an atomic bomb, but like in that shape.
So you can see the pseudoscience fueling this stuff. Basically, if you don't fap, it helps your body attract females easier because your body wants to procreate, essentially. And then the added layer of like sperm being precious, filled with nutrients, and just like giving that away more often will affect your body. These guys obviously don't even remember like 8th grade biology where I learned all this stuff. And they haven't really read about this topic at all, because if you read about these things, there is no scientific evidence for anything that they are saying, but even the stuff about just not doing it and then suddenly becoming more attractive and your body being like, oh, you haven't done it in a while, let me make you more attractive to women by helping you like grow muscle and facial hair, because we all know that's exactly how the body works. I do respect like the confidence in which he says this stuff, but at the end of the day, It's just so ridiculous, and even though it might seem very, very silly, I believe like this misinformation about medical issues is just very bad for your brain in general. So I'm going to read you some of the comments under this video to see the reception to it. So, semen retention helped me to the next level at the gym. I can bench 315 pounds now. I've been working out for 7 years and never hit that goal before. I'm happy you hit that goal. It wasn't because of semen retention. Power are very real. I unfortunately relapsed after 8 months from today. I caved into my urges, unfortunately, but you live and you learn. Time to start back from square one, but I'm excited to experience the benefits all over again and love the journey, especially since No Nut November is around the corner. This is true. I've spent so many years trying to quit fat unsuccessfully until I had a clear revelation about what it really was. I felt it deep in my soul. I became fit, more focused, more secure. And now it's been a year without FAP, and I didn't even feel the urges. It was a divine revelation for me. I despise now the concept of fapping. My seed is sacred, and I won't spill it anymore. This journey has been the most wonderful thing in my life. So the stuff about like the seed and like keeping it, really to me just seemed like puritanical religion. Awesome video. Currently on day 8 of NoFap. I noticed a lot more motivation, female attraction in 8 days. That seems like a massive difference. Mind clarity, quicker with comments, more testosterone, better control of emotions and mindset. Also, my skin is glowing a lot more naturally. Life just feels more natural without artificial semen releasing and overstimulating of the dopamine receptors by doing so. Even in the Bible, the story of Samson was telling men not to simp. Never give in to women's demands. Don't make her a part of you. She's either with you or not. Simple, end of story. I do find that there's a lot of misogyny in these like Sigma male NoFap communities as well. Maybe that's something I will talk about in my next video on this stuff. We must invest our seed into our purpose, just as one would invest saved money into buying assets that make money. But that's the way these guys view this thing, because if you are spilling your seed, it is taking away nutrients that would help you, and your body would realize if you weren't spilling it, you need to attract a woman to create a baby, so it would help your muscle growth and beard growth. I believe what he's saying 100%, because I went through it and not just one woman told me this, it was quite a few that said to me, "Are you a different one? What happened to you?" I drained myself with some godless woman that made me lose all ambition and energy. The devil was alive, trust me, he is. So I actually feel like very bad for these people, and also people who are seeing the benefits of it. It's like a placebo effect, because you think it's giving you the benefits. So if a woman one day doesn't notice you when you're not doing NoFap, and then you're doing it and she does notice you, you're like, well, it's because of the NoFap giving me all these vital nutrients and more attractiveness to the opposite sex. Also, one more thing I've noticed, because I've been watching these videos all day, I've been advertised so many scam products for these types of men, like pheromones and like these sprays that supposedly attract women, loads of online courses about doing NoFap and all this other rubbish. It's clearly like a very profitable industry for some people. But now I want to go into debunking some of the myths about like semen retention and NoFap. So I just want to talk more about the science of this. So Fatherly did a good article, Why Scientists Think No Nut November is Nonsense. Healthy men should just say no to No Nut November. I think No Nut November is largely anti-science. Nicole Prouse, PhD, tells Fatherly, the new designation, and it's hardly a tradition, appears supported most by the for-profit NoFap company and some religious organisations and groups like the Proud Boys. These are largely known for their very young male members and misogyny. Although some people have tried to use No Nut November to raise money and awareness for prostate cancer, at least some data suggests that men who ejaculate regularly are at lower risk of prostate cancer. Studies have also found ties between ejaculation and improved memory, deeper sleep, improved immune cell function, and decreased inflammation. Still, the evidence in favour hasn't stopped No Nut November from spreading the seed of misinformation all over the internet. For instance, proponents of it often claim that withholding ejaculation increases fertility, despite the fact that studies actually suggest the opposite. There is no evidence that not orgasming for a month will influence sperm mortality factors any differently than abstaining for a few days. Abstaining for years is associated with decreased sperm mortality, not better. So one more article I want to share is the NoFap phenomenon. There's nothing new about most of what we are saying. In the 18th century, a Swiss physician named Tissot promoted the idea that masturbation was a medical illness which weakened the male spirit and created immorality and ill health. American physicians carried this idea for a long time, including Benjamin Rush, who believed that fapping created blindness, and Kellogg, who we talked about earlier, who invented cornflakes as part of the anti-masturbation campaign. The anecdotal problems these physicians were seeing were the untreated effects of STDs. The past century of advances in medicine tells us that fapping is very healthy. People who do it on average have healthier relationships, live longer, know more about their own bodies, and have better sex lives. The NoFap folks regurgitate a lot of the old myths about how refraining from fapping helps them to be more energetic, sexual, and manly. They've now paired it with modern worship of brain science, making lots of extrapolations on weak science to argue that pornography has a disproportionate effect on the brain. They are also now linked with moral groups who oppose this on the internet on feminist and religious grounds and use the same brain-based language to mask that these are actually moral arguments, not medical ones. No one in the movement is actually a scientist who researches neurophysiology and function. Instead, they're enthusiastic amateurs who've learned nothing about brain science to be dangerous. They see what they expect to see and interpret brain science to support their assumptions. That's the dangerous part. Bad data, lack of knowledge, and the intrusion of moral values is what led people like Kellogg arguing for surgeries and the use of physical restraints to prevent fapping. These same types of morally driven arguments led to being gay being called a disease and sexual women being labelled nymphos. The no-fap strategies might have some positive benefits for people, but only incidentally. Brain doesn't need to reboot. The way they argue, through taking a period of time away from any repetitive behaviour, may help a person become more mindful and more aware of the impact of his behaviours. These guys reporting that they are able to get laid when they stop doing this has little to do with it, and everything to do with the fact that they are making conscious choices about their lives, their sexuality, their relationships, and their needs. I encourage that for all people. As a man and a therapist, I just wish it didn't come along so loaded with these false messages that men are inherently weak. So hopefully, if any of you were thinking these guys had legitimate points about anything, you've seen it like debunked. Also, you probably didn't believe it after I played you the videos of how utterly ridiculous all of this stuff is. Now, to summarize this video on NoFap before I obviously move to the political side, basically NoFap itself in its like more pure form as something to combat addiction, I don't think is inherently a bad thing. Like I said at the start of the video, if it works for you to kick addiction, then go for it. But the pipeline to believing in this ridiculous pseudoscience is dangerous, because once your brain has gone to mush so much that you believe this stuff actually exists, you're open to all sorts of conspiracy theories. And it's really, really not a coincidence we're seeing the rise of this stuff when we're seeing the rise of so many different conspiracy theories going absolutely mainstream and people's critical thinking skills just being reduced to, I guess, nothing, where they seem to just believe everything ridiculous. And this kind of shows it's not only restricted to boomer Facebook mums and stuff like that, it is actually affecting a lot of young people who I guess are searching for answers about, you know, why women don't like them, why they're not attracted to the opposite sex. Just like the Sigma male stuff, it is rooted in a lot of toxic masculinity, and they start to believe that if they can pass this mental test, it will have physical benefits, despite there being absolutely no evidence for this stuff. And even just on the absolute surface level, it's seeming so ridiculous. But anyway, that is it for the video. Had some fun with this stuff, went down this pipeline, and I was very, very surprised by the stuff I found. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you want to follow me on social media, at the Kavernacle on Twitter and on Instagram. If you want to come join our communities, check out my Discord and my subreddit. If you want to support my work, please check out my Patreon. And if you made it this far, thank you for watching.